Before the first tear forms, before your throat tightens, before you have even consciously registered that something is wrong, your dog has already moved. They are already crossing the room, already settling their body weight against yours, already looking at your face with that particular focused stillness that is unlike anything else they do. You did not call them. You made no sound. You may not yet have fully understood yourself what you were feeling, and yet your dog knew. Most people write this off as coincidence or projection. The science says otherwise, and what it actually reveals is one of the most remarkable things documented in the entire field of animal cognition research. Welcome to Hidden Paw Signals. Subscribe now if you want to go deeper into what your dog actually perceives and what drives the behaviors that seem almost impossible to explain. Today, we are looking at the science behind canine emotional sensing, how your dog detects your emotional state before you fully experience it yourself, what happens in their brain when they sense you are distressed, and what the research says about the nature of the bond that makes this possible. The foundation of your dog's ability to sense your emotional state before you consciously register it yourself is their olfactory system. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than a human's, depending on the specific scent molecule and the individual dog. This is not a casual enhancement. It represents a fundamentally different relationship with chemical information. When you begin to experience an emotion, your body responds before your mind fully processes it. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, rises in your bloodstream and appears in trace amounts in your sweat within minutes of a stressor occurring. Adrenaline changes the chemistry of your breath. Your skin temperature shifts. These are not subtle changes to a dog's nose. They are loud. Research published in scientific journals studying canine olfactory cognition has demonstrated that dogs can reliably distinguish between the sweat samples of stressed humans and calm humans, and that they respond behaviorally to stressed scent in measurable ways. More recent work has shown that dogs trained under specific protocols can identify physiological stress responses from human breath and sweat with accuracy rates far exceeding what chance would predict. Your dog is not reading your mind. They are reading your chemistry, and your chemistry tells a story your face has not yet had time to compose. The emotional intelligence of dogs extends beyond scent alone. A landmark study by researchers at the University of Naples, Federico II, examined how dogs respond to images of human faces displaying different emotions. The dogs consistently showed different behavioral responses to positive and negative emotional expressions, suggesting a capacity to visually decode human emotional states. Further research by Natalia Albuquerque and colleagues in 2019 examined what happens when a dog is present while a person cries versus when that same person hums to themselves. The dogs approached crying humans far more frequently and with body language characterized by submission and appeasement, the exact behavioral pattern associated with attempting to comfort rather than seeking out food or play. There is an important distinction in the research that matters for understanding what your dog is actually doing when they move toward you in distress. The debate in animal cognition science is between true empathy, which requires understanding another's emotional state from their perspective, and emotional contagion, which involves simply resonating with and responding to another individual's emotional signals. In dogs, the evidence suggests the behavior falls somewhere between these categories. Dogs appear to recognize and respond to human distress in ways that go beyond simple contagion. They orient specifically toward the distressed person, they display behaviors designed to reduce social tension, and they maintain proximity in a way that is distinct from how they seek out food or play. Functional MRI research on dogs, pioneered by neuroscientist Gregory Burns and his team at Emory University, has given us the first glimpses of what happens inside the dog brain when it processes human emotional signals. When dogs were shown images associated with familiar humans versus unfamiliar humans or other stimuli, the caudate nucleus, a brain region associated with reward and positive anticipation in humans, showed elevated activity in response to familiar human scent and images. The dog brain, it appears, is literally rewarded by the presence and positive state of the people it is bonded to. This creates a motivational structure where attending to your emotional state is not a neutral activity for your dog. It is relevant to their own emotional well-being. This leads to one of the most significant implications of the research. The bond between a dog and their person is not one-directional emotional labor. When you feel better, your chemistry changes, your cortisol drops, your breathing slows, your skin releases different molecules, your dog registers all of this. The same biological sensitivity that allows them to detect your distress also allows them to detect its resolution. From the dog's perspective, helping you regulate by staying close, by making contact, by sitting with focused attention on your face is not just an altruistic gesture. It closes a loop in their own emotional system. Your calm is their reward. Before we continue, a brief important note. Everything in this video is general educational content. It is not veterinary advice. If your dog begins exhibiting sudden, excessive, or unusual responses to your emotional state, including extreme clinginess, refusal to eat when you are upset, or what appears to be severe distress mirroring your own, please speak with a qualified local veterinarian or veterinary behaviorist. While empathic sensitivity is a positive trait, extreme versions can sometimes reflect anxiety disorders in the dog that deserve professional attention and support. The vomeronasal organ, also called Jacobson's organ, adds another layer to your dog's emotional sensing capability. Located at the base of the nasal passage, this specialized chemoreceptor organ processes chemical signals that are distinct from standard olfactory processing. It is particularly sensitive to pheromone-like compounds and non-volatile chemical signals. While its exact role in dog behavior is still being studied, researchers believe it contributes to the processing of emotional and hormonal chemical information in ways that complement the primary olfactory system. Your dog may be processing your emotional chemistry through two separate but overlapping sensory channels simultaneously. There is also substantial evidence that dogs calibrate their responses to human distress based on the depth of their relationship with the specific person. Studies examining how dogs respond to strangers in distress versus familiar people in distress consistently show stronger and more targeted responses toward familiar, bonded individuals. Your dog's ability to sense your emotional state and the quality of their response to it is not a fixed biological trait applied uniformly. It is something that has been tuned over the time you have spent together specifically to you. Your scent, your baseline emotional chemistry,
Your habitual patterns and the specific ways your body changes when your emotional state shifts have all been catalogued and memorized by your dog in a way that makes you uniquely legible to them. This has a practical dimension that is easy to overlook. Dogs that live with individuals who experience chronic stress, prolonged anxiety, or significant emotional volatility absorb that chemistry as a constant background signal. Research suggests that dogs living in high-stress environments show elevated cortisol levels themselves, a direct physiological reflection of the emotional atmosphere of their home. This is not a small finding. It means that your emotional health and the emotional health of your dog are not separate systems. They are entangled through biology, through chemistry, and through the bond that has developed between you. The direction of this effect can also be positive. Multiple studies examining the therapeutic effects of human-dog interaction have documented cortisol levels in humans drop measurably after brief periods of interaction with a dog. Heart rate slow, blood pressure decrease, self-reported anxiety scores fall. What this means in the context of emotional sensing is that the interaction is genuinely bidirectional. Your dog senses your distress and responds with presence and contact. That contact changes your chemistry. Your dog detects the change. Their own stress response moderates. Both of you are, in a neurological and hormonal sense, regulating each other. What does this mean for how you should understand those moments when your dog appears out of nowhere while you are sitting alone with a difficult thought you have not yet expressed? It means that the appearance is not out of nowhere at all. It means your dog received a signal, processed it through a sensory system of extraordinary precision, evaluated it against the deep knowledge they have built of your specific emotional patterns, and made a decision to close the distance between you. That is not coincidence. That is not projection. That is a relationship operating at a level of attunement that most human relationships never reach. As with all content on this channel, what you have heard today is for education and general understanding. It does not replace the advice of your veterinarian. If you observe anything in your dog that concerns you, whether related to their emotional responses or anything else, please seek out a qualified professional in your area who can assess your individual dog directly. If this reframed the way you think about those quiet moments when your dog comes to find you, please share this video with someone who might need to hear it, and leave me a comment below. Has your dog ever shown up for you in a moment before you knew you needed them? I want to hear that story. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. The voice and visuals in this video were created using artificial intelligence. Thank you for watching Hidden Paw Signals. There is one more dimension to this worth considering. The sensitivity your dog shows to your emotional state is not a static capacity. Research suggests that dogs who live closely with emotionally attentive people develop increasingly refined responses to that person's specific emotional patterns over time. They are not just detecting generic stress chemistry, they are learning the specific chemical signature of your stress versus your excitement versus your sadness, building a personalized emotional map of you that becomes more precise the longer you live together. The dog who has been with you for 10 years knows your emotional landscape in ways that a dog of 6 months cannot. The attunement grows. The relationship deepens through exactly the mechanism you are feeling in those quiet moments when they come to find you without being called. It is also worth noting that your dog's response to your distress itself can be a form of healing. Multiple studies on human-animal interaction have documented measurable reductions in cortisol and increases in oxytocin in humans following even brief physical contact with a bonded dog. When your dog comes to sit with you in a difficult moment, they are not just providing comfort in the emotional sense, they are providing it in the biochemical sense as well, and their presence is actively changing the chemistry of your distress response in ways that your body registers as real relief.